Yo, what up guys, welcome to your one-stop shop for cops. This is Kevin, and today I wanted to do something different because I'm following up with so much of this hype, but in reality, I don't really go through that many shoes in a casual sense. So there's no point in me buying so many casual shoes. I know I tell you guys about casual shoes every day of the week, but something more relevant to me is running shoes, and I think I've run for a pretty good portion of my life so far. I've really been focusing on my fitness, and running is definitely a very important part of a lot of people's lives. So I think I thought I would give you guys a few tips. I mean, I'm no shoe expert, but I kinda am. Okay, so the first thing I want to go over is definitely just casual shoes. And that would be something like the Reebok Fury Light. So the Reebok Fury Light, you can see that there aren't real laces. They're just you can't really tie these. So they're not really good examples of laces. And so it doesn't have any lockdown. It doesn't have much cushioning. Let me take the insole out. So the insole is just it's like a gummy worm. Don't buy a gummy worm insole when you're trying to run. The third thing is the sole. So this is a 3D ultralight foam on the bottom for this part, and then you do have some rubber up there and down there. So rubber is actually pretty expensive, so it adds to the value and the cost of the shoe. And ideally you do not, if you're a running shoe company or if you're a casual shoe company, you don't want to use that much rubber because it would be pretty expensive. So this is definitely not made for running. I know if you're in a pinch and some lions are chasing you, then sure, you can use these as running shoes, but otherwise, I do not recommend it. Next up is a casual shoe nowadays that used to be a running shoe. So an example of that would be the Instapump Fury. You would think that this may be a running shoe because of the sole. The sole has a bunch of rubber on it. I know it doesn't up here, but sometimes it does in this model. So something else it advertises is this shroud / this bladder that helps to fill up and conform to give you a personalized fit. And so that's something that would be helpful on a running shoe and is still used today on running shoes. But there are a few signs that let you know that this shoe is not a running shoe. First off, the material on the toe box is it's a dense mesh that will not allow much air to pass through. And you may be thinking that okay, they have these holes though, so they can easily have air pass through, but that's really not true. Even though it's really cool technology and it used to be a running shoe, it is not anymore relevant today. It is not relevant today anymore because this will not allow your foot to breathe. So although this has some good cushioning, you really don't want to use this on your runs because your feet will not thank you for it. Now we're actually getting into the running shoes. So this is the Z-Print 3D from Reebok. And so this has a couple of the keys that you know to be good for running shoes. This has rubber on the top, but it also has these nodes for cushioning. And some people may call it a gimmick, but it also has improved durability over the foam of the other shoes. Additionally, it has nodes all over just for good cushioning. And the other thing is the breathability of the shoe. So if you see this this pattern up here, it does have some bigger holes to allow for more ventilation between your foot and the outside air. You can just tell that this is just a much more breathable material that can be actually used for running. The fourth type of shoe in this video that I want to go over is a longer distance running shoe. So this is a mid or long distance running shoe, and you can tell because a lot of this outsole is covered in rubber. So you have the entire rubber nodes in this entire area. So ideally, you can also have a setup like this, which also has a heel and the forefoot, or you can have an entirely rubber sole. It covers the forefoot, which is generally where you run. You have some nodes where you would heel strike because in case you're running down a hill, it's very useful to have that traction as well as that cushioning. The other thing that I like talking about is breathability. Here you have a really wide, some wide circles for mesh, and that's really important because the wider circles allow your feet to breathe more. Just giving you a comparison between the amount of cushioning that you need between this shoe and this shoe, this is a lot thicker. This is this thick, while this shoe is this thick. That's because you need a lot of cushioning on your longer distance runs. Another thing that I mentioned with the tongue is that the tongue on this is a lot thicker. This is a lot thicker than this kind of shoe. So ways you can apply this knowledge, if you are looking at a training shoe, for example, and you're wondering like, okay, is this training shoe good for long distance? You look at a shoe like the JJ Watt. I'm gonna see if I can post it up on here. But the JJ Watt has a super thin tongue. I would say even thinner than this shoe. So you would know that that shoe is definitely not made for long distance runs. And it's not, because it's a training shoe and it's made for like explosive movements, it's made for sprints, and it's made for agility training. As a summary, the first thing you do is look at the outsole. The outsole should always have some rubber cushioning for the front foot and sometimes on the back foot as well. Also, all rubber is also good when it comes to running shoes. Also, when it comes to breathability, you want either one of two types of materials. So you want this type of material, which has these wide, like sort of like ventilation holes in the mesh, or you can have something called a knit material, which is really in these days. It doesn't have those big holes, but it's definitely breathable and much lighter. The third thing to look for is the meatiness of the cushioning. So you want to see how cushiony it is. Like this would be good for mid to long distance running. I know that long distance running has even more of the cushioning. The fourth thing you might want to look for too, that I didn't really go over in the video, is just how much cushioning you have in the midsole. I know that it's kind of hard to see, but the midsole is this big with this shoe, but the midsole is pretty meaty on this shoe. It's like this big. Of course, this information is super useful when you're shopping online, but if you're in person, it's best just to put the shoe on and see how cushiony it is or how much responsiveness you get, because they're kind of like complementary. You have either cushioning or you have more of a responsive shoe. And I hope this helps you guys find your running shoes and help you locate them pretty quickly within a store or if you're looking online. It used to be that running shoes were just the ugly shoes, but that's not the case anymore. You have really good looking shoes like this, and you have Athleisure coming in to make running shoes even more popular and more even greater in design, because you have people who are looking to optimize the design for both fashion as well as running. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching your one-stop shop for cops. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below if this helped, because I know that I like buying a lot of shoes sometimes, but buying running shoes is something that I'm definitely very particular about. See you guys later.